Mom, I am showing you this presentation so you can learn about my experience in my communication class and my growth as a communicator. We were given areas of communication. They were listening, diversity awareness, interpersonal communication, group and team skills, and lastly, public speaking. As we're doing research on each, we all chose one we want to improve throughout the semester. I'm going to tell you a story, Mom. As you know, I attended Westlake High School, same school as you. We both know I wasn't always self-motivated in the classroom. Teachers always telling you that I didn't apply myself, that I was a bright kid, but I just didn't try hard enough. While I was able to be a little above average, I feel like I could have achieved more. During my senior year, I had Mr. O'Connor for English. He's the one circled in the picture. He was a nice guy, and I did okay in his class. When time came out for our senior recommendations, I thought, hey, Mr. O'Connor could write me a nice one. When I went to him, he flat out told me, Ricky, you're a good kid, but I don't know what I'd write for you. You don't try hard, and you don't behave in my class. At the time, it angered me, but other than that, I really didn't think much of it. Well, anyway, I graduated and made the big decision to go to Oneonta, as you know. I wasn't sure what to expect because it's a big change. When I went to enroll in classes, I chose communication. I always knew communication wasn't a skill I was good at. I thought improving it as a freshman would make it easier to improve and fix the problem earlier than rather deal with it later. We learned 3 major themes which help shape a good communicator. 1. Interpersonal communication is at the root of all conversation. 2. You don't learn anything unless you're willing to take risks. 3. Communication competence can be learned. I've been using them to improve my communication skills, and I don't think it would hurt for you to try either, Mom. Going back to the 5 choices for improvement I mentioned in the beginning, I chose to focus on my interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication to me is being able to talk within yourself and understand your own thoughts more. This is important because the more clear you are with yourself, the easier it is to relay your information to others and to also understand them. So to do this, we set ourselves SMARTER goals, which stand for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. My goal was to stop restraining and evading from conversation. A lot of times I will have the thoughts in my head, but I will not be confident with them, so I keep them to myself. I want to be able to express my thoughts clearly and be able to understand my peers' thoughts more easily. Every week I would write down my results. As you can see, Mom, my progress for the first week or 2 was not good. I felt like I was doing the same thing I always have. Only difference was I was able to catch myself when I was restraining but couldn't fix it. It was very frustrating at first, and I wasn't sure how to fix it. So I began to look back to the textbook to see what could help. I realized I need to make change. So I revisited the themes of the class to see which one I was lacking. I realized I had to take more risks to make improvements. I thought of new ideas to help reform a new plan to catch myself. For every day I had trouble with restraint, I wrote it down on an index card. I reflected on these after the end of the weeks to see my progress and see if I was taking more risks. Another problem I realized halfway through my SMARTER goal that hurt my communication was my mumbling. Mom, you know as well as I that I mumble because you're always asking me the same things over and over again. I believe mumbling makes it harder for me to be understood and limits my input in conversations and group work. I made the improvement not to mumble, and it led to great progress. It was a risk I had to take, but it showed good progress. Mom, at around week 5, I really think I hit my peak in my goal. I was able to catch myself more and more, and rather than just write about it, I was speaking my thoughts clearly. I found it a lot easier to process information and relay it to my friends. I think you saw some of this on Thanksgiving when I was communicating with everyone very well. There's also 2 major characteristics that make up a good, competent communicator in everyday conversation. I looked back at these and saw which could make me more confident. The 2 major ones are mindfulness and self-talk. By trying to implement these into my everyday conversation, I saw a lot of results. I was able to catch myself making mistakes and was able to fix these mistakes that were giving me problem in the beginning. In the middle of my SMARTER goal, I took all my index cards and notes and began to review them. I wanted to see where I was having success and where I was still lacking. I noticed that I was catching myself more and more and beginning to speak up in conversation. I also noticed I was still evading conversation, but I knew I could make improvements in that. I was really satisfied at where I was at the halfway point, and I knew that there was more to come. Also, reflecting back, I was able to see that I was mumbling less as I talked to friends, you, and Dad to see if I was continue mumbling, and all said that I was improved on that. Along with restraining from conversation, I was able to make some new friends and talk to other people. I think I really hit my stride after about week 7 of the MOOC. The MOOC, Mom, is a massive open online course from the UC Berkeley we took. Every week we would read articles and watch videos to help with mental happiness and being a competent communicator. It was during week 7 that I found something very interesting. It was about self-motivation, and it helps set goals and accomplish them, which leads to happiness. A direct quote from MOOC says, "Many of the themes of this week, optimism, focus, flow, converge on another mental habit of happiness, goal setting. Research suggests that setting goals for ourselves and progressing towards those goals help us. After that week, I saw major improvements with my SMARTer goal. Being able to self-monitor my goal throughout really helped. Not getting down on myself and staying optimistic also helped. It also allowed me to get out of my comfort zone. One thing I learned was getting out of the comfort zone helped you learn more, as shown in the picture. I realized that with people I'm closer to, I never had trouble communicating, but it was people who I was unfamiliar that gave me the trouble. So I started talking to more and more people to improve my communication. Mom, this whole process was not easy. It took a lot out of me to change and improve my communication. Throughout the weeks, I often felt there was no hope, but I used self-motivation to help push myself and persevere. I found the correct steps to help improve my interpersonal